Nari, Obiwankenobi, back at you after a strong opening weekend for the Overwatch League's Pro-Am tournament. How has everybody been? It's nice to see you all. Before I begin, of course, I've got to go through my daily rituals. It's the owl, something you might remember from last year, the Wordle challenge, with you have 5 letters that you have to try to guess a word.
Oh,
I
think I've seen this before.
Guesses. You've got 8 guesses.
That's a lot.
And so if you want to break down how it looks like now, it's changed quite a lot. Since we have a new East Division, we might have somebody who we haven't seen play yet, or we might have one of 13 teams, all with some form of Korean superstars, including Sugar Free for the Vancouver Titans, no? You never know.
Your budget Korean superstar.
Your budget Korean superstars up in the running. So here we go. Nari, just think of a name. You can go by Val if you're not sure yet, and then it'll narrow it down for you.
Go by vowel?
You can go by Val if you don't have a name in particular.
I was thinking Sparkle off the bat.
Sparkle. Okay, so first guess we're going to see is if it's the right player, if it's the correct region, country of origin.
2-4.
Yeah, that's good. It's a strong
Eastern
start.
DPS, not Korean.
For a little refresher,
Definitely
your Eastern teams are Chengdu, Dallas Fuel, Guangzhou, Hangzhou, Seoul Dynasty, Seoul Infernal, and Shanghai Dragons.
And I assume it's all random. They don't randomly pick it. It's all. It's not like they guess on their own, or is it just like is it just random every day? Like a normal Wordle?
They roll it every day, so it's already been looped before. So there has been players that have come up again, but now they've got their new teams.
East region, DPS, not Korean.
Yeah,
so that means it's a Chinese DPS.
Oh, good guess. A good educated one. Who would you pick? As your first
go for Leave. Classic.
Leave. From Hangzhou Spark. Oh, you can.
It's not correct.
But it's from Hangzhou.
They only have one other DPS.
Pineapple.
Shy. It's Shy.
No,
it's Shy.
Shy. Okay. If it's Pineapple,
it's really Shy.
Nah, you got it.
Yeah. That was easy.
Too easy. You know what I really love is that in an hour's time, the New Zealand time difference is staggering. So what you're seeing is a countdown till it resets at midnight.
Maybe you could do it at the end.
We are going to come back to this right in a moment. So how have you enjoyed the Overwatch League experience? Now we've finally got gameplay with contenders teams. I know you're relatively close to a couple of those players that have been performing. I know some of them in Kuffer. But overall, seeing them bash against some of the Overwatch League teams has been pretty sick, I have to be honest. Probably the greatest thing I've ever seen is the ultimate smackdown and the BMs that we've seen in chat from all these teams. What are your thoughts?
It's been very fun to watch some of the contenders players actually, go out of the broadcast, be like, hey, I'm worthy of, being here. Players like Boat. You know, he did a lot. He did a lot for this team. What was he on? He's on Trick Room, right? Boat?
Yes, Boat from
I saw a stat card against... who was it even against? I don't remember.
Well, let's have a look.
This is really good.
So, even just looking at the standings, I think this should tell you something. Did people expect the contenders teams to blow everyone out the water? Not necessarily.
Probably not.
But look at those map differentials. They didn't completely lose it all, and they actually got a couple of wins in their bag. So Group A and Group B, Atlanta Reign and London Spitfire come in clean.
Not a surprise to anyone.
To anyone's surprise, was it that Florida Mayhem came out on top over San Francisco Shock? Nari, what are your thoughts?
That is a surprise to most, unless you tell them that Shock is on 200 ping in Korea at 5 in the morning.
Don't tell them.
Everyone else is...
Don't tell them what Krusty was cooking.
Don't tell them that.
He has to put them on handicaps. The only way to make it fair.
They need to make sure they don't use all their skill on Pro-Am.
In fact, look at Vancouver Titans. They're right in the middle. They weren't below.
Just barely.
Yeah, that's +3 map differential in the new first to 2 format. What did you think about that in general? The structure was, if you go to map 3, that was equivalent of map 5. I think the journey was so much faster. You really get clung onto the story with the second match being like the ultimate showdown. Do they sell the score or do they go for one more round? I think a couple of the map differentials tell you when it went to map 3, there was seriously some hard fought matches. And other times it might be steep rolls.
Yeah.
I could have been wrong.
I think the first 2 format was only just for per-am, because that's what they did for the qualifiers. So I think they just kept it going throughout the whole thing. I highly doubt that they'll use first to 2 for the whole season. I think that would be like they've already got a lot of L's going for them. They're still on YouTube. They finally figured out that the only reason people watch is for tokens, because there's a massive dramatic drop in viewership whenever there wasn't tokens for Pro-Am. Hell, even I didn't watch that much.
But you know what they did do instead, though? The lack of tokens was apparent, that they had to have a pinned comment in the YouTube chat saying there was no drops being given away for the time watch, so they knew that coming in. But what they didn't tell anyone was that you just stay tuned and all of a sudden you'd get some Overwatch related looking mods show up with some Overwatch League token codes for 150 League tokens. How do I know?
I saw that.
I may have gotten one.
Nice.
I
did see that, and I think it's a terrible way to do it, and I really hope that's not their plan for the rest of the season, because like during the live, I don't know. I obviously don't know how many people were watching at one time, but I imagine fighting, like, say, for just an example, like 20k people for like 1 or 2 codes isn't gonna be the easiest thing to do. And I don't think that's a good way to give out tokens.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to see if there was a pattern, and naturally they put in a lot more for those early bird watchers in the watch point. With the new format that they were doing, it was very easy to be distracted by not watching what was on broadcast because there's no games going on, and then there would just be
I did like the new watch point format. I liked that a lot more. It reminded me more of like a traditional sports thing, where it reminded me a lot of like ESPN, where they had the topics laid out, and you could tell like what they were doing, what they were talking about. You weren't like lost when you immediately tuned in. Like, you knew immediately what they were talking about, even if you don't watch it, or even if you do watch it. Like if you're just like a new fan or an old fan, you know exactly what's happening.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely cool. This entire layout, you could always see an active countdown. You could always get really into the more smaller lineup that they have for Pro-Am. That should be expected. Like, I think it's really cool that they could bring in the guest of casters.
This looks a lot better.
Some dude named Custer. I think I've heard of him. LA Valiant, I think. That's all I remember him for. See,
I remember from the Australian World Cup.
The Australian World Cup's a great place to start. I remember all those fellas on that team. No doubt Custer was like the one that was going to carry them. No, man, it was the rest of the team. No doubt to see him still returning as a caster with Mr. X while Uber was, currently looking after baby. I can understand that. I definitely miss not seeing Uber, but it's one that I can pass on to let him
the
take care of
Uber Mr. X duo is one of the best Overwatch League casting duos we've seen, like, ever. It probably won't change for a while, but hopefully he does come back for the regular season. Obviously, respect to him for prioritizing family over Overwatch.
Yeah. So, looking at how this Pro-Am season is starting, they decided to do 5 games per day. And with that format of first to 2, I think that's actually a good balance. Like, you don't feel shortened on the experience because they're so quick, but you're also not dragging it on for too long because you get a variety of teams playing. And you even got some double-ups like San Francisco Shock, who would totally smash the Florida Mayhem on the surface. And Trick Room seems like a no-brainer as well.
I don't like the double-ups, personally. I didn't like the fact that one team had 2 games. So, like, it's not back-to-back. They're pretty like close.
They're
it's like
spaced out.
You have a game, one in between, and then another one. Like, if you're going to double up, at least do like one at the beginning, one at the end, or something. I feel like that would have been better if they really wanted to double up. But I think it would have been better to just have, like, 1 game for one team every day instead of having 2 games for one team and then have that team take a break the next day. I think it would have been better to just have 1 game per day for each team.
You think so?
I think it just would have made more sense.
It would.
To me.
I think it's nice to have that little double feature, but yes, it really depends on the team, because I think there were times where you were hopeful that Shock will be able to get their match against Contenders, which would probably be the easier team that they don't have to plan too much about. But they also, like many teams have said, they're not taking it too seriously. If anything,
They
it is
shouldn't
to
be.
prep them up. And you could tell that to try this hard as a full Overwatch team would have only been secondary to actually, playing as a team. For the most part, I don't think this has shown that they worry too much about the practice, because it will come eventually.
There's a lot of season ahead of them, and I think it's better to just not waste your energy now. Just treat it not necessarily as a scrimmage, more like a show match. Because at the end of the day, it's pretty much just what this is. Just a bunch of show matches.
Show matches with
Like,
some
it's-
prize money on the line, which I think is a great incentive for
Some
teams.
is an understatement, because isn't it 100 grand, 100K,
Yeah,
like total?
that's small money for Overwatch League teams.
That's quite a bit.
That's twice the usual prize money for a tournament. That's not called.
Yeah,
season practice.
but you have contenders teams involved, and as we know, Overwatch doesn't care about the path to pro.
At
So
least in their defense,
minimize it a
they're
little bit.
trying to sustain it, and I think that's the perspective I only got out of the prize
Keyword
money.
trying.
We had some drama, if you recall, at the very start on day one, where Zoe explained the prize money for the contenders teams, how they would be awarded the top contenders prize, 7,500, if they don't qualify into the top, I think top 8 teams that would be in the tournament. If they did make it, then they forfeit the top contenders prize, because they're now in the running for a much bigger prize. I can understand that it was poorly worded and someone got real shrivelly and started posting that on Twitter, just that one caption, which he said, oh, but they forfeit the contenders prize when they're going to get the bigger one if they make it, and that's why they don't receive both of those. And so I'm glad that the next day she immediately corrected that for those who were a little unsure, and I was one who corrected it on Twitter, and I got a lovely little tweet back. So you can understand that it's probably very stressful to her to need to clarify something that was as clear as she could make it. But you just take that last sentence, and then everyone starts to get a little bit concerned as to what money's being given away. They're still going to give away the money, regardless.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a different
Also,
format.
everyone I've talked to about, like, Pro-Am does not like the new, like, HUD. Like, at the top where, like, the teams are listed, they don't, like, specifically for the Shock, a friend of mine was like, I hate how that looks. I'm like, I don't like that much either. I don't like the orange on gray that much. I think orange on black looked a lot better last season, or hell, even gray on black looked a lot better last season.
Yeah, it's kind of like they're regressing or just trying things out. But it's not in the sense that it's experimenting to make it better. It's just experimenting with, look, maybe we shouldn't do this next season because we just want to hear it.
Yeah,
we want to hear it that it's not what you want.
I also don't like that for the contenders team, they felt the need to put contenders in front of their name.
I think it's practical.
As if they're...
Just so you
I
can
guess
clarify it, because like we should have Maryville Saints, but we just have Contenders Saints. It doesn't translate.
Contenders Trick Room. It's a long thing. Like it takes up the entire bar.
Contenders Trick Room. It's like all
like
characters.
San Francisco Shock makes sense for it to take up the entire bar. It's San Francisco Shock, but to take Trick Room and then make it into basically a sentence with Contenders Trick Room, it's kind of a mess.
Okay, and so we did kind of cover the teams in Contenders playing in the Pro-Am, and of those 4 teams that were playing in Group A and B, was it a surprise that Trick Room was able to get the bag on San Francisco Shock with that ping difference? Even despite that ping difference, they were able to overcome
I think
San Francisco.
without the ping difference, it would not have been that close.
Pummy? Are you familiar with Pummy before the tournament?
Before Pro-Am, no, I wasn't.
Yeah.
But both DPS look really good. I think
infected and hard
them playing on ping is just like the Shock ankle weight. They needed that. They need to like be held down because if they're not, they just destroy everything. And it's boring to watch.
They will unleash all heck amongst the server whenever they play.
Yeah.
And look, we're starting to see them bounce back. So all hope is not lost in Shock. There never should have been lost hope. But I can see people getting angry that they won on the following weekends. I mean, sure, if they lose, then
How
they're
dare they
disappointing.
win?
If they win,
How dare they want money?
They're trying way too hard. Finn needs a break. He's saying more like sneezing at their opponents. Why is he trying so hard? What about this replay little barrier that they've done for the new UI? So instead of, it was like a little flag that they had. Now it covers the whole screen.
I feel like if you're not looking down at it, it's not very clear that it's a replay, but unless you've seen the OWL broadcast before and you see that thing in the left side that has like the speed at which the feed is moving. It would say like X 0.10, which is like the speed of the replay, I believe. Which they've been doing since day one, and I'm glad they never got rid of that.
Yeah, that's fair. Pummy seems like someone who's got some good potential, and he seems to have shown up on this matchup against Shark. I still don't see what it is about Pummy that I remember about him. There seems to be some kind of conversation I had with someone on Discord, which, as if you don't know, I am a moderator from the Grosso Charge Discord at the time of the recording. And it still feels pretty wicked when I try to see if it's because someone said that because they were just joking, or they genuinely thought they could go to the Guangzhou charge, which, look, I'm just a moderator. I can let them say what they want. I'm not going to be offended by it.
I'm just a moderator. I don't know the roster.
I really don't. They didn't tell me. They told the social media.
I'm a moderator for their Discord, not their general manager.
we know. But for most of you, well, I don't have any more secrets than you do, buddy. You can go to China and you'll have more information than I do. This particular skin design for all the contenders teams makes sense, but would you think it would have been sweeter if, say, like Whiff, they like to redesign the Overwatch 2 heroes into their orange-colored skins? What if they did one for Trick Room? You know, custom fitted out in...
I was expecting just, like, full-on custom skins, not contenders. I didn't expect them all to just be green. I thought they would, like, have... Like, I was totally expected Saints to roll out with, like a red and white, like, thing. But they didn't. They're just green.
They got to get ready for Overwatch World Cup when they have to do this a couple dozen times and, you know, do different colorways for each country. They're going to do that.
That's true. That's true.
So, you know, if you're missing the opportunity, well... Hey, look, at least you're repurposing the resources you had. Because back in Contenders Korea, Contenders Pacific, that just started this week, all the Contenders regions have just been using the Overwatch 2 Contender skins, and everyone's getting really excited. I think they look great. Yes, they still kind of look like Houston Outlaw skins, but there's a slight tinge, if you are going to go for an Outlaw skin, where there's a lot more darker blacks going on here across different parts of the skin this time, and you can see it's a little bit lighter. And plus, it's a noticeable brighter green than the Houston Outlaws.
Yeah.
So they've made an effort this time around to really think about the skin designs, even if some parts of it are a little bit questionable when we last covered them. You can go back 2 or 3 episodes where we talked about it, and I may have snoozed a little bit on the last half of the episode. But yeah, I'm not going to spoil it. That's just what happened. What about the rest of the tournament? Any particular highlights or matches? I
didn't watch nearly as much as I wanted to because most days I was either scrimming or just playing games already, and I just didn't I didn't feel the need to like have the broadcast open without like the tokens. Like I didn't feel the need to watch it because I mean my team wasn't playing.
That's true.
So like my team my Dallas team's on the other side of the earth right now. Like I can't watch them, and there's no tokens. It almost feels like why bother. Like the only games I really tuned in for like more than 10 minutes was Vancouver, because I'm a simp.
Vancouver simping indeed. At least they won, and I think people were worried that they weren't. Like good on Timeless, they had some hype, as ChatGPT verified the other day. And I think it was very impressive that Vancouver stepped up the plate. They had good punk. They had good DPS. And look, Sugar Free really did say, "You gon' die," as we covered with Mike. And it was a fun match to watch. I won't lie. I've never seen 2 contenders teams wail it out. Oh, sorry, 1 contenders team and 1 Overwatch League team just battle it out for supremacy. It was a good surprise since they announced probably like 2 hours into the broadcast who was on their roster, and the reason that they took that long was because of 2-factor authentication. Perhaps that's probably the craziest ways to announce the roster the day of the match. Concern
very
anyone?
funny.
No. I think the leagues and the day before.
No one was
it
surprised.
There was the not Los Angeles Valiant Twitter account that spawned that just happened to be started up by Paintbrush, confirming that everybody was on the team. We have no idea why they still hadn't got access back in, but that was the first message they posted before they announced a whole bunch of Twitter handles, and everyone knew
At
that's got
that
to be the
point,
roster.
just even if you have two-factor authentication, just reset the password. Like just reset it.
No,
I have two-factor authentication on my Twitter, and I've reset my password hundreds of times because I'm an idiot.
two-factor authentication is dumb. After seeing what happened
It's hard to get through, but like that's a good thing.
That is. There is a great video to look at that's not Overwatch related.
It's one thing to lose the password, but you can just hit reset password. If they couldn't hit reset password, it means they lost the email too.
What you need is to white hack the LA Valiant account. And the way you do that is if you have the YouTube and that password seems to be the same thing, you might as well make the effort to use the session tokens, which is what was explained in this video from Linus when he got hacked. And this 15 million YouTuber couldn't even, with his IT expertise and knowledge, was running down naked at 2 a.m. trying to save his account with his wife. Goodness knows how you could be in this situation that you would be very stressed out.
Video to watch.
It's a great education on why two-factor authentication sucks. It has its limits, but it's still better than nothing. That's the lesson.
That aside,
Valiant,
Overwatch.
I'm glad you're back into your accounts. Let's hope we get more updates from you, because this is a good account. This is a good team that it's time to grow into, a great team. Is it a great team now? I think there's potential. Zika looks good.
There's something there. What exactly that is, we're not sure yet, but there's definitely something there. I personally, even he was in Paris, which is now Vegas, last year, Crowley.
Yeah.
I'm not too confident in it. I don't know why. I was never too confident in his play last year or even this year, from what I've seen of it. It doesn't spark hope for me.
What surprises me is that he's the only piece that got picked up from Paris Eternal, and the move to Vegas Eternal got picked up by LA Valiant of all places. CJ was in a little interesting predicament. If I recall, he was part of Maryville Saints during the Pro-Am. So if we just go back to what we talked about there, it's weird to see CJ look so capable on a official OWL team, because I'm so used to seeing him of all places calling all heroes, but also in contenders and doing his part on support. And now seeing it on an Overwatch League team for real is quite nice. It's really good to see these teams really mash up together. Cuffer from Australia, got my eyes on you, buddy. I hope that you're interested in joining the Ecopoint podcast. I'd love to hear your experience and your thoughts. I've already sent the message out to you. I'm just waiting for the reply.
Have you actually?
I have for sure legitimately sent through a DM to Mr. Cuffer himself. He could very well be keeping an eye on this and maybe listening to this episode. If you are, what's up, buddy? Hope Australian contenders have treated you well to get to this point. Wub and the Wub heads. Is it because he kind of looks like a warhead? Where's the name come from? Even he doesn't know. Even he's
confused.
But look at
Wub is actually from the city, so I'm full in on him.
Full in on Wub.
I support him all the way.
Yeah, gotta represent. Would he be eligible for Team Canada, Team USA?
He's American. He's be eligible for USA. I don't know if he tried out. I assume he did, but I don't know.
Surely. I mean, there happens to be some leaks that was sent out by the general manager for Team USA, Albert Ye. So they went for.
I haven't looked over those codes. I was planning on doing that tomorrow.
Every possible map. I won't spoil it this time. I got tired after I realized how much content was revealed when we watched the other.
Yeah, there was a lot of maps. I plan on going over it with a couple of my friends tomorrow.
I've heard that will be a good match. There should be plenty of players there. And there was some controversy, I believe, on Kings Row of all places. Because someone was playing ball. I don't know. Is it worth even going?
Ball?
Ball?
Ball? Are you kidding me? How dare they?
How dare they go ball? Did you?
How dare they play a character?
So if someone told me there was this psychological experiment, a a psychoacoustic effect called the McGurk effect. It's when you hear one sound and then you see a word, or you try to decipher a really obscure word, and it sounds like different things at the same time. I think you might have heard something called the Yanny and Laurel comparison.
Oh God,
Yanny.
I know where you're going with this.
So
I know where you're
I'm
going
afraid
with this.
that's about as far as I can touch it. But if you look that up, and this whole discussion on Twitter yesterday was simply Mirror being misconstrued as saying something a little inappropriate, but people jumped on
Saying
that
something
very
that
quickly.
most OWL players, in fact, any OWL player should not say.
Not one should, because someone has been fined.
Or
for
anyone
that.
in general. No human should ever just say that.
And I'm pretty
No one-
sure, in good faith, that was never his intention. He definitely sounded ticked, but I don't.
I don't think.
know
I don't even think he
anymore.
said that. I don't even think he said that. I think he's like. I feel like he would know better. I don't think he would have actually said that. I think he just has a heavy accent.
Yeah, it would be a Vietnamese accent for sure. I wouldn't say 100%, but I'm not doubting that it was probably completely misunderstood. And so, if everybody says that's not
I'm
what
on
they
his
heard,
side.
do you think that's going to cause a problem when the officials or the representatives of Washington Justice, who currently have Mirror, do you think that they're going to want to respond to that if what he believes is not true and what everyone in the community is saying is completely different or completely false? Not the player.
I mean, I'm on Mirror's side personally.
Yeah, I think it was all just a complete misunderstanding. There's no reason for for something that was live streamed to then suddenly.
I was gonna say that's another thing. If he knew he was live, there is no way he would be that stupid.
I don't
think
he's
anyone would be that
silly.
stupid.
He wouldn't do that to himself. No, I
No
think
one
he's
would
a
be
smart person.
that silly in on live stream. I think he's just a heavy accent. It's just not his first language. Heavy accent. There's a lot of things working against him on that front.
For sure.
Right.
And you know who won't get that mistake wrong? The Ecopoint Overwatch podcast on Twitter. Make sure you follow, and maybe you could even check out the Discord where we host this live, where we do these recordings. You might even have a poll to finish, which unfortunately I'm a little mad. I'm a little mad at you, actually.
There's a poll.
There was a poll. In the Ecopoint Overwatch Discord, what's been going on lately is there was an announcement I made. Just on a whim, I saw this jersey, and I'm asking, no one's gonna actually respond. Like, do you think this is a busy server? I think it's busy enough for me. I don't need it to be out of control. But as soon as I put in the suggestion, I suddenly have people responding, and now I have to buy it. Like, why? I was
I
expecting
cannot see the general discussion category of the server, by the way.
That's especially
I cannot
funny.
see that. No one can see that area.
You
More
don't even
people
need
can
it.
see-
I think general
there's
chats
nothing
and Discord
going
servers
on
are
in there.
overrated because people will go off tangent anywhere. Just do it in pics and vids. Show me your memes.
That's true.
Show me your regular sports. Or your anime.
Nothing in regular sport.
Yeah.
Nothing there either.
We don't have any anime. Anime is not real. The only anime I watch is the Overwatch.
You know why? Because no one can see that. Because no one can see that channel.
No one can.
I can't see it.
If you go, so the way that some of these Discord servers run is you go into the rules, you read the rules, and then you say, yeah, I read the rules, and then you should unlock it if you select your
It didn't
pronouns
work for
and
me.
things. Yeah, so
I did do that. It did
I
not
would
work
love
for
more
me.
people to prove me wrong or prove Nari wrong that it does work. So please join the
It just
Discord.
doesn't, though. It just
It
doesn't.
does not. It does. It totally could.
I mean, I could do it again. Here, let me try it. Let's see.
Yeah, I'll just let up another
Yeah, no, that
stream.
shit didn't work.
Shock versus Timeless. Was this a good match or was it a great match that was casted? From Chris.
I mean, I think it was a good match just because Door was there.
Door and Hurix, I think, is a good combo. You can have one without the other, but it would never be the same. I've seen these two
Yeah.
for far too often in the North American side, and they are so in sync and in vibe with the Overwatch League. And it's just like the right tone to set when you have these contenders teams duking it out with the OWL players. I think it was a good aesthetic. And for most people, this was the first ever time they saw competitive Antarctica. What did you think about seeing this map being played as the first game. Really?
That's how I felt about it. I hate Brawl.
It was very brawly.
I don't like playing or watching May Brawl. Like any Brawl with May involved in it, it's just for me. I never enjoyed it. The only way I can enjoy Brawl in any context is if I'm on it playing Bastion, just because I melt things. Other than that, it's just I don't know. It's just not fun to watch for me.
Yeah,
Because it'll go one of two ways. You'll either one team will wall the Rhine will die, and then the fight will be won because there's no longer a Rhine for the other team.
Yeah, I mean, I think the next best option would be Symmetra, but in some cases you might even play both. Max going hard on the Ramatra. This also might have been some people's first experience of Overwatch League Ramatra across the...
I believe this was the first Ramatra mirror that we saw. This was a full mirror, actually.
What was crazy
or
is we
Ramatra
saw
mirror on this map.
London Spitfire go back to their roots and continue playing Reinhardt into a Ramatra. And here and there you would see Doofus Ramatra. Or am I wrong in saying that Winston was always put up against Reinhardt? Or
there was a small amount of Winston played.
The Winston
Overwatch.
Winston. He gets a lot of wins, no doubt.
Tanks having a bit of a staring match, not actually looking at the other support, just walking at each other.
It was just whose ultimate lasted longer, and Max just pops his one later.
Whose fist was just slightly bigger?
Which one suffered more?
Which one suffered more?
I would agree.
Which one
Max has suffered the most.
More?
I mean, look at that scoreboard. At
Max
this stage,
is suffering at 200 ping. He is suffering at 5 a.m. on 200 ping. They all are. They are all suffering.
They might be on ping, but their reactions are on point. Look at Finn with the
Timeless is suffering as they are.
Wubbed and Doomed. Okay, I didn't really pay attention at all to many of the Tracer players, but yeah, Proper's one was probably the one exception. When he popped off, he would completely
when
attach.
Proper pops off, you see it. Those observers really make sure that you look at Proper. Like, hey, look, Proper's on the screen. Go, look
You will
look
never
at that.
forget that Proper was your MVP last season, and you've got the little emblem that's next to
your
the logo on the
MVP,
profile.
your Roll Star, your Rookie of the Year, all of that.
Your TikTok
And if he won Grand Finals, he would have gotten all of the awards like that you could get in a season if he had won the Grand Finals. He would have gotten Grand Finals MVP easily.
There's
no way Mikey's getting it.
Any other surprises across any of these teams? Because for me, it was Saints. That's because I could just go with everybody on the contender side being pretty low ball. But they at least had some stiff competition. Sadly, I don't think Vegas Eternal has really made the cut for me just yet.
They didn't even win them. I don't even think they won them.
Saints was the strongest team to look forward to, and even they weren't the strongest, I think, of all the contenders teams. If I'm not mistaken.
Vegas took one map on one team. Can you guess what that team was?
Was it Atlanta?
It was no. Vegas got one map their entire journey. One map on London.
I was hovering over London, just thinking, was it this exact game? Because there was no other game between the two. They didn't.
I would have thought it would have been like Valiant or something, but London.
Oh, would you?
I don't know that happened.
Backbone, you okay, buddy?
Backbone, get down from there.
You're
gonna hurt yourself, Backbone. You're gonna hurt your backbone. Get down from there.
Ow! It cuts to black. Okay.
Love to see Lethal in the lineup as well.
Yeah, do you think when I saw Vegas Eternal against Atlanta Raid, there was some potential there, but they were going to get swept. At least whatever they could do to hold back and retake the point. I think part of that was more to do with the map's design. They can take it back, and less so that they had it all down when they could beat London on this half of Hollywood. And now my favorite part was actually seeing a little more Baptiste. That was a nice, healthy surprise. And then Hattie back on your Reinhardt. Nothing like classic Overwatch 1.
Reinhardt comp.
I think with the way that Push and New Queen Street has been getting a bit more play time. I think we've seen a lot more Esperanza and, thankfully, a little bit more polish on the teams now that they've played push for a little longer than, I don't know, 4 to 6 months now. How do you?
Yeah, they've
the
played it in a
playing
state where it's actually stayed the same for more than 2 months.
So do you think that people have got a better
they kept
sense of the
adjusting
game?
stuff like all season to push. They kept adjusting stuff the entire year. Like it's like 8 minutes long, now it's 10 minutes long. The bot goes this far, now it goes this far. They just really liked messing with it mid-season. They really liked doing that.
Yeah, it's probably faster than trying to do anything structurally with these 2 maps, which I think
They
is
also thought it would be really funny to make it a tiebreaker map for like a whole stage.
Because like the conditions for tiebreaker would be really sick, wouldn't it? You but you can
still tie on push. You can. It's still possible.
Yeah, with the way that it breaks.
Control, it's literally impossible.
Yeah, the way that they pause here, that is a possibility that if you were to retake it back on overtime, that could.
It is decently possible to draw on push. It's happened to me before. Like it's not totally out of the realm of possibility that you just draw on a map like this.
Yeah, I've always wanted to force a draw, but I don't think I have enough people wanting to do that in quick play, let alone in competitive.
Well, I mean, the only way you could probably do it in competitive is if you have a cheater on the team or the other team, and both teams agree to just like not push,
just contest indefinitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I see that as like the countermeasure.
Nice shot from Sparker.
Yeah, Sparker's aim has actually gotten better.
Little fade away.
I'm pretty sure that they're playing from ping, right? Because the maximum amount of ping between the 2 teams has to be 200. Whoa, what a shatter from Vulcan. I think that's a highlight. Yeah, we'll call that a W.
The Maywall blocked it off. No, I think they were playing on ping, which doesn't really surprise me. I don't exactly know where London would have been playing from though. Because where were they playing from when they were like last season? Because they had to be in America.
Oh, they were playing in Dallas. Do you think that they were playing in Dallas this season? And still in LA? Oh, sorry, not in LA, in US.
They were in Dallas last year?
Yeah. Dallas was home to the European team, so they could play on better ping for Overwatch 2.
And I guess if they got invited to like the Dallas LAN events, it'd be a little bit easier to travel.
Yeah, there was the LAN events for Summer Showdown that they did last
Kickoff
season.
Clash, and then the Summer Showdown in Canada.
Oh yeah, that was the opening weekend match against Houston Outlaws. Yeah, that was all hosted all in Dallas, and that worked out fine for many teams.
I believe the Battle for Texas, like the opening weekend one, was actually in San Antonio. I know this because I went there.
Oh, I'm glad that you did have that to fact check me. It was a good event, no doubt.
And then there was I believe there was another Battle for Texas somewhere.
I think that just happened to be during the Showdown tournament.
It was in regular season, but I don't remember when it was. I went to that as well.
Unless it was part of the tournament.
It was just for Houston and Dallas.
Oh, sorry,
it wasn't
I
a
keep
whole
thinking
LAN.
Summer Showdown. No, that was hosted by Toronto Defiant.
Yeah, that Summer Showdown tournament was hosted by Toronto, but there was another Battle for Texas that occurred during the regular season, like qualifiers.
And you definitely remember it being a 5v5 game when you watched it the second time.
Yeah, I was in the Esports Stadium Arlington when that happened as well. God, but I don't remember when it was. I just remember that we lost.
It's such a great venue. Yes, and I do remember there was a loss to the shocking meeting because it's if I had a nickel for every time Dallas Fuel lost at their own homestead, I'd have 3 nickels. It's not much, but it's weird that it's happened 3 times across 2 different
3?
seasons.
Has it happened
3? 2020, they had a homestand and they happened to have lost, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, they did actually.
Wild.
They lost that. They lost their opening one in 2021 as well. And then they lost the 2022 opening one as well.
Oh no.
That's very funny.
Oh no, and we don't even have Dallas playing.
Although the 2022 opening weekend one wasn't necessarily a homestand for Dallas. It was more of because it was hosted by Houston. But for some reason, for whatever reason, they decided to put it in San Antonio. I guess arenas are cheaper in San Antonio.
Yeah, I guess wasn't that more like it kind of helped to Houston in that kind of area.
I mean, yeah, it's
Geographically
close.
closer?
It's closer to Houston than it is to Dallas. So yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly the time from Houston to San Antonio, but I can't imagine it was a short trip. Considering where I am to San Antonio's 2-hour drive.
Oh, righty. Look, I think I need to come back, and we did a pretty big breakdown last episode when we were doing our team previews of the Atlanta Reign. And I guess Mayhem was nowhere to be really found in much detail, but we did get to see some sauna on the last day. Yeah,
Did we?
Yeah, we did. We got him subbed.
I didn't like I said, I didn't watch it enough, so I guess I didn't get to see him.
So frankly,
but...
I think this was a 2-0 because Trick Room just got tricked on. Yeah, I mean, look, it's
they did not have enough tricks in their room.
I would say most improved just off of this weekend, based on their last year's presence, was definitely RuPaul. I certainly wouldn't have imagined him playing so much Kiriko and really getting a chance to master it with his team. Most of it's still intact. At least there's been some good upgrades, side grades, if you will, with Merit and Chorong.
I was going to say, when you have Chorong on your team, you kind of just win.
You kind of just have a proper, flex support.
You just have a support line with Chorong and what is the very improved RuPaul now.
Yeah, I loved RuPaul when he goes on Ana, but that was the only time I felt any semblance of confidence because he was such a new player at the time. He had that new player energy halfway through last year.
Yeah.
Now he doesn't have to worry about that, and it clearly showed it worked well with the team. So he's probably one that you certainly don't want to underestimate coming into the fact that they go 4-0. A 4-0 locked in thanks to Trick Room getting lobbed at. That ball is gone.
Thanks to Trick Room not having enough tricks in their room.
They ran out of tricks in their bag.
They ran out of tricks.
See, look, they just ran out. They couldn't get him over the line. But look, even this one last minute attack for contenders, Trick Room is now really hard to evaluate, but fortunately we don't have to evaluate for them too long because they didn't manage to qualify over Forage, and it would have been nice. I thought I had them after being shocked that they might have enough of a lead in map differential to go hard into the top two.
Unfortunately, Florida said no.
Yeah, there were other teams that wanted that spot. And someone just completely pounding on the Winston versus the Bull. This is what I like to see. Bull, yeah.
Is Shock
Winston
gonna be playing in America? Do you think? Like by the time they the full playoffs come around, are they gonna still be stuck in Korea on a 200 ping? Because if so, competitive integrity goes out of the window.
I think they do that to themselves, though, if they choose not to, and they just stay in Korea, because what is the chances that in the week or so's travel, that they don't take up that opportunity to fly them all to, better ping? Because I think they need to.
Yeah, I mean, they could take like this week. They could take this week off to be like, just like fly everyone back into wherever they were, back to their facility, and have them play the game correctly. Okay,
someone. Woo! No wonder why you're such an ace, Winston. Your Winston is the ace up your sleeve. Good sensitivity right there to swing that fast. And I can guarantee you it does help with the damage because of the extra surface area when he swings his arms. Just some basic Overwatch Winton strats. You gotta swing those arms. You gotta pummel them like Pummy.
Pummy got pummeled.
Pummy pummels. He did get pummeled here. I don't know anything about Magic 8 Ball either. Just watching it, I think people got really excited about him because he doesn't have a real name, or his full name is Magic M8 Ball.
Magic Mate Ball.
Magic Mate.
Mate.
Mate. That's how they say it down here in Australia, New Zealand. We just call them Mate. Mate, what are you doing? You're playing Liana? Mate. It's all in the expression. It's like, oh, mate, something's not good. But, when you got it going well, it's like, yeah, mate, we got it. Oh, I love this emote. out comes the little Trick Room logo.
Wait a minute. That's like the Trick Room like thing.
That's
like,
essentially
the
what
thing. It's
like a
cube.
knockoff. Yeah, it's a knockoff
Cube.
Trick Room. A
They
Ground
made
Zero.
Trick Room real.
When Guangzhou had a logo with the G and the Z, Ground Zero said, "Hey, look, free logo," and they just use that spray whenever they ever play in Contenders Australia. Hopefully, I get to see more Contenders Australia because they're also going to be participating in the spring stage for what we're still missing, a ton of East Division play. So East Division will have their own little thing going on where they will, instead of being a Pro-Am tournament, it will be part of the spring stage. So that will be something that I'm looking forward to. Yeah, we need a representation from Australia and New Zealand. We need one from Korea and Pacific to represent like your Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore's, and the like. And yeah, look, Korea is a number one, so of course they'll get an extra slot or two. So that shouldn't surprise me that we can actually have more teams in the East Division actually fighting against each other, not to the death by the same teams over and over again. That's going to be refreshing. If Pro-Am was any indication, I'm going to absolutely be floored when I stay up at 3 a.m. having watched some of the most epic East Division games ever since Apex. The Apex days really did deliver so much talent into some very long, quality matches. Like, do you remember in Apex where we had a guy, a Libero, who played the Mei in such a creative way? He would, like, put ice walls up on the ceiling. His whole team would just go over walls. They use the ice walls to make sure they can bring the whole team across. And they do insane stuff like over on Eichenwald and Dorado with that. It would just put them so far ahead and completely mix up the game. But it was all one-off stuff that pretty much only a Korean team could do. Full synergy. Yikes!
He saw it infected, just stood there and emoted, right? He's like, yeah. He just let it happen. Like, come on, kill me.
Oh, infected. I gotta love the honesty there. That was an honest ball moment. You don't bother spinning around at that point. You know what's getting delivered to you. How about one last team we got to wrap up on, the Atlanta Reign. Did you see all the games or any particular ones that stood out?
Let's see, pull up Atlanta, London, I suppose.
Atlanta, London is probably the most competitive in their groups, so they didn't really do any cross matchups. But if there was cross matchups, Atlanta
didn't take any maps. Atlanta didn't lose any maps, like at all. No maps.
That was pretty golden. Yeah, they played against the Valiant.
But I imagine the London one was the only one that was even remotely competitive.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for a start to the season, what a matchup to play alongside Mayhem and Shock. Really, it just really puts you back in together. This is, the incoming return of the Overwatch League. With this format, it just felt like a real good sneak preview. And no doubt, Atlanta Reign has been hitting the margins that they've had based on scrim leaks, based on the inherent talent, like when you see Stalker on Soul. It's good to see him stand out. Dong Hat has also just been a solid all-rounder.
Dong Hat Monkey.
Dong Hat Winton. Dong Hat Ball. He roll.
Love to see Chio in the league again, even if it's not wearing that blue that I so desperately wanted him to keep wearing.
Yeah, I see. A lip on Sombra. This is the East Division's greatest gift. Fireworks lip. But unfortunately, because most of the NA teams don't have as much experience dealing with him on the Sombra of all players on Control, he actually lands all of them.
London doesn't know how to deal with Lip Sombra.
They run into the Lip Sombra EMP, so there's no more fireworks, or at least the fireworks, they actually land onto the intended targets this time around.
The spirit of Europe has been shut down by Lip EMP.
Just like that, entire power cut just destroy the entire...
The lights on Europe's entire spirit of Overwatch is just gone. They've been turned off. The switch has been flipped.
But the good news is they've still got a fighting chance as they've qualified for Group B.
Yeah.
So
they look good.
More to look forward to as there's now...
They look as good as a full European Owl team could look.
For sure.
But just desperately middle of the pack.
Yeah, look at Landon. He gets antied and he just quickly restores with what looks like the Suzu. Then he just
let me press E on the floor and just get rid of an entire... Terrible flex.
Yeah, they
Terrible
just
effect,
put a
yeah.
fox just charging straight into the enemy. Misses, but the speed boost is much appreciated. Look at that! How many people
Was that
got
like
hacked?
a
No idea.
2 or
Because
3
it was
just an
completely
EMP
countered.
and
By,
get slapped in the face by a couple kunais?
yeah, completely counteracted by Admiral, who's
Don't hawk
very,
monkey,
very
don't
much
hawk
on
monkey.
point. Monkey. Ooh.
Chug of that, Lucio. Chug of that, Lucio. Get him,
Gotcha,
get him.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you
Yes,
do
primal mechanics too.
Yeah, these are some primal mechanics from a real pro player right there.
The
That's
ball
what you want to
player
aim for.
primal mechanics, it's over for NA. This guy won it all. This guy's getting
This
roll
dong
star
hack
already.
fella, best move, just press jump to slam.
This dong hack guy, he's gotten the MVP already. Already rookie of the year.
We
Easy.
sound like we're joking, but no, really.
sorry.
He kind of got it in the bag if Pro-Am is going to
No,
have
he's-
any MVPs.
He's the tank version of what Proper was last year. I feel like he's gonna be that, where it's just like you cannot stop him. He is phenomenal.
Would you
He's-
say he would be
very
the best
good.
rookie across all of the teams if you include the
I
contenders?
think he'll be the best rookie tank for sure.
Rookie
there's no-
tank time.
Best rookie tank.
Let's get a rookie tank in the.
And definitely one of the best. I think he's getting a tank roll star easily.
Yeah, if someone can, pull off a free K, what's stopping Donghat from doing that on ball without using the bombs in his ultimate?
Oh wait, he's speaking of Dong Hawk Ball. He's already on it.
He plays
He
the ball
just swapped.
without
He's already
ultimate.
60 to mine.
Yeah,
He
he's
just
so
swapped.
down.
He has mines already.
It's insane just how well they hold
Not
it.
even to
They
get them
just-
fast enough because they hold too fast. They can't stop him. And lip into the drink.
into
hole,
the mouth. Never
into the
to
mouth of the
return.
belly of the beast.
Wow. It was a good day to be watching Pro Overwatch. Let's be clear. Both the Friday, the Thursday, the Saturday, and the Sunday. All great times to watch the Overwatch
All the
League.
day.
Hey, look, it reminds us of the old Overwatch Season 1 and 2 schedule where they did play matches on the Thursdays. That was a nice little nod to the spiritual return of that old format where they could actually occupy 4 whole days worth of matches. This is only because they can only do it within the span of 2 weeks of qualifiers and seeding. 1 week for A and B. And the second
Well, I
half
mean, there's
for
also
C and D.
there are 10 total teams between the group A and B. You have 5 games. You also have 2 maps. Well, 3 maps maximum, for each match because first to 2.
Yeah.
So you can fit a lot more of that. If they did do the first to 3, if they just did the normal format, they probably would have had less matches and they probably would have had to stretch it out a lot longer. But they didn't do that.
Yeah. So judging by the new structure of first to 2 and the limited maps, do you think giving the losing team the map choice helped enough for these teams to be able to make a comeback? Personally, I think that did, but there were more cases than not that they were just completely diffed out by their performances of their Overwatch opponents or their slightly better contenders brethren.
Yeah.
That's how I felt through that. And look, it's nice to see those Overwatch 2 League skins in action. And if you do want to get yourself some hands-on Overwatch 2 League skins, make sure you link your account on Battle.net. We may be able to drop out some tokens. Seriously, I would love to. But, I feel like we're kind of needing an incentive here.
I'll give you some.
Yeah, maybe we can give you some if you are willing to.
Maybe the Charge Discord will hand out some to their mods and use that for this.
Yeah, probably not. If you do want to, though,
You
join the
never
server.
know.
You think it might be good to like and subscribe. Check out the podcast over on Spotify if you want to break from the ads. And you can even just make sure that you also check out our Twitch when we hopefully will get some more episodes across all the platforms. But for now, I think YouTube has been our home, and we're here to stay. Just like, unfortunately, Overwatch League. Is that a miss for you personally? Not having it on Twitch.
They would have a lot more success on Twitch, but I think they're just staying on YouTube because of all the controversy that's been surrounding Twitch recently.
Yeah, it's always constantly growing and then shrinking, so most people kind of just have to depend on Twitch as an income stream. But others know that there's places out there in YouTube space that you can start occupying early. I don't know. I think that's going to be something we should
Clearly,
make the most
Overwatch
of.
League knows something about the YouTube like live streaming space that no one else does to give them a reason to keep staying. Like they clearly have some inside information of like, oh, we're gonna introduce this, but don't tell anyone.
Yep, don't tell. They're still cooking. Even after 2 years of the deal, this third one's that's gotta be it. Third time's the charm. Third time's the charm.
They don't even
More
have an
integration.
exclusive deal. They don't have an exclusivity deal this year, so they could easily just multi-stream. Like they could stream on YouTube, Twitch, like wherever they want to
Oh
this
yeah.
year. They didn't actually make an exclusivity deal, so they're not only on YouTube.
And you bet I'm looking forward to the upcoming watch party season that they're going to be starting next week. They'll be allowing content creators to join in on the fun. Still instructions unclear. Does that mean I can also multi-stream onto Twitch? Probably, because other people have been doing some streams over on Twitch.
Actually,
Reinforce
I
has.
just remembered
Apple
that
has.
up until they only announced their exclusivity deal again like a day before Pro-Am started. I remember this.
Yeah, it did.
They were going they didn't have one until like a day before Pro-Am, because I remember I saw like a J3
no.
tweet. It's gonna be
Oh,
like,
my.
we're gonna co-stream Pro-Am, and then he's like, never mind, it's on YouTube, can't do that.
Oh no. Those deals.
So I mean, it'd be good for y'all to stay on YouTube if you ever get co-streaming rights.
You know, I keep my eyes peeled. I have some competition from many other podcasting and also content creators that are even outside the space, which I think is what they really need more of. But I certainly wouldn't mind being able to run the helm on that. I think this is the safe space for people to come chill out, talk about the games, give me your hot takes, and I will evaluate them grudgingly. Because there's probably something I've already heard of, or it's a very cold take. Like, Titans being timeless. Everyone should have seen that coming. But unfortunately, according to my stats from the community, based on the submissions of about 30 to 32 users over on the Reddit Overwatch League Discord, this entire chart, the part that matters the most, Timeless versus Vancouver Titans, 73.3% predicted that Vancouver Titans would take out Timeless. I feel like that's a little disappointing to not have faith in an Overwatch League team for Timeless. And I honestly think Timeless didn't make it.
I remember our original predictions. I had faith in them. I had faith in Timeless to, punch above their weight class and take out the Titans. But
I may have
but
joked
I guess,
about
but
San Francisco.
as you said,
Timeless.
Sugarfree said, "You gon' die," and
Yeah,
they
you're gonna
died.
die. San Francisco shot versus Trick Room. I stand uncorrected. They did actually win. And it was godsend because even Mike also made that claim as well. It'd be factually shock, but Timeless Trick Room because it'd be funny. But they did actually pay it off. And look, 10% of people guessed Trick Room. One of the more impressive ones.
Well, I mean,
Vancouver versus Trick Room, 53%.
These were predicted before people realized, oh, Shock's on ping, so they got their ankle weights on. They're not gonna play optimally, even remotely. So
No, not at all. So the fact that it took, a lot of confidence, out of a lot of people, but they'd still continue to keep their Shock versus Timeless predictions in. Because at that point, they did bounce back. At that point, they got used to waking up at 5 in the morning for match day in their local time. So that probably has to be factored in.
The fact that it takes proper to have, like, ridiculous ping for him to look only a little bit, like, not, like, for him to look, like, not great. Like, he doesn't look like he did last year, and he just looks like, okay. It takes 200 ping to weigh him down. It literally takes a giant handicap to make him look terrible. And he still managed to find a way to look good.
A bad sleep schedule can do crazy things to your performance. On top of that, the ping and just whatever your opponents were doing. I think Trick Room had something up their sleeve and they actually managed to pull it out just in time. Any time that they were trying to complete the final blow of every team fight. So not always perfect for Shock, and that's what really cost them. Yeah, I hope that they do come down to Korea, though, just going back full circle. From Korea to hopefully San Francisco. Hopefully that they can play in their hometown. That's for sure.
I don't know exactly where their facility was last year, but
I would hope it's somewhere in San Francisco.
I would imagine it would have been either San Francisco or I heard like a majority of the teams stationed somewhere in Texas last year, simply because it's cheap.
You know what? I think that makes sense. If for some reason Shark's parent organization doesn't want to house them in their own city because it would be easier, I think that's a pretty smart decision.
In Texas.
Yeah. I mean, they've got the grand finals money. That's there to be in the bank. It's not meant to be overspent.
Yeah.
Only on the players.
Dallas took all their grand finals money and moved to Korea.
It's to keep the championship team together. So, hey, I think they kind of did something with that money.
I mean, I've had my time to process it. It's fine.
I'm glad that you've come to your senses. That
I'm not happy that I'm going to have to destroy my sleep schedule to watch it. Like, I'd be up at this time watching Dallas, like, now.
Yes,
like,
it will be now, around this time. And look, I did
you could co-stream APAC team.
I did want to one day go to a homestand, but frankly, it's looking less and less clear what East Division wants to do. Seoul could host them, and they have hosted them last year against Philadelphia Fusion. Seoul Infernal could technically now have a spot in Seoul that they can actually host both teams in the same room to see who's popular. We know who that's going to be.
Dallas is the king of homestands. If anyone's going to do it, it has to be them.
Yeah, Dallas owning a homestand in South Korea would be the most baller move that they could do with the money that they invest in the teams playing from there.
They have Korean fans. It's not like no one would show up. A lot of people would show up.
And I'm sure there are organizers who would love that idea of just bringing an international team over and making sure that they look great as a homestand owner in Korea. You have to pause for a moment. Because who else just joined Korea? It would be the rest of the Chinese teams. Unfortunately, Chengdu is nowhere to be found. Guangzhou has not made any announcements. Spark is in all Chinese roster, who's definitely traveling. And Shanghai.
Guangzhou lost the password.
Shanghai, yes. They've decided to pick up their bags with the same players on the wrong roles. Anything they can do to retain some of the star talent.
Guangzhou lost the password. Chengdu shut down their office.
Actually, I would argue they didn't lose the password, but they forgot how to make an announcement post. So, yes, that they know.
But I do know Chengdu just straight up shut down their Chinese office. Like, they don't have an office anymore.
Facts. It's not looking great, but they have to at least make an announcement in the next couple of weeks after the Pro-Am is over, because that's when spring stage happens. Their schedules are going to start colliding eventually. They got to have a schedule. They got to have a team. If they don't have the minimum number of players, does that mean there's one less team? And then it's 6 versus 13 between the two regions. I'm hoping. Here's hoping that the rest of the Pro-Am makes my success on the scoreboard here, which is currently bugged, but should be accurate. 75%. Not quite 24th place. It was probably pushed up a little bit. It's kind of deflated a little bit. It should be higher. It's definitely not that low. But my map points are pretty because I'm not used to this new format. Looking at these predictions, if you think you've got what it takes, join the Reddit Overwatch League Discord. Their link is in the Reddit Overwatch League Reddit, of all places. So perhaps that's the place you want to go check it out if you want to join. And look at.
I was thinking about doing these pick'ems. I was thinking about putting a slot, but I was just like, I don't know how to use Google spreadsheets, so I think I'll just leave it there.
Yeah, we can always be able to give you a guiding hand, but if you join the Ecopoint Overwatch Discord, we can at least have a good time. And, you can join your favorite team's team color as one of the colored roles, which would be awesome. Get yourself some color representation from the LA Glads to the Philadelphia Fusion. We still have them. We still got the Philadelphia Fusion role.
The only place on Earth that has Philadelphia Fusion role.
You betcha. Now, I think I've waited long enough. I can finally see if we have what it takes to do today's new owl right on schedule. My turn this time.
Yeah. Alright.
I can't do any contenders players, but I can certainly start with any Korean talent.
Only do owl.
Mom, it's my turn to play the owl.
My turn to play the owl role.
Stalker. Okay. Crimzo.
It is a.
Yes, there's a
It's a
couple things wrong with
DPS.
that. Yes, it's not a DPS.
It's a
It's not a
DPS and
Western
it's not
team.
Western, but it's also not a Korean
unlucky.
either. So
it's
again,
time
it's
to go
another Chinese
again.
DPS. It's
Is
another
it
Chinese
Jimmy?
DPS. Is it Jimmy? It's not Jimmy.
It's not Jimmy.
So then it has to be like.
Okay, so
Has to be another.
don't say it. Don't say it because we had the answer before, and I've already. It's on the tip of my tongue what I want to say, but it's not Shy. Pineapple?
Dog.
No, dang it.
Wait, it's not even Hangzhou this time, so it's not even. It's
this
not. I can't even
time-
believe.
This time it has to be Jinmu. Jinmu is still on the roster apparently. There you go.
There it is.
Jinmu, baby, and do you know where you can submit your top scores from the Owl stage? Over on the Guangzhou Charge Discord, no doubt.
They have a whole thing for that. That's
We have
kinda
a
cool,
whole
actually.
thing, and the whole community hides the spoilers from yesterday's and the day before. So we really respect the competition to see how many you can go in a row. I've been lucky enough to get straight ones, and some of the rest of us have gotten ones because we're so good at this. Completely blind
I
guesses.
mean, the thing is, the difference between this and Wordle is that there are billions of English words, but there are only so many Owl players that you eventually have to get it right first time. Eventually,
Eventually.
like if you just get Sparkle every day, eventually it's gonna be Sparkle.
It's absolutely true, and it's absolutely fire. So, Daily Owl for 2 days in Czech in the same episode. We've literally crossed time zones, and now it's Wednesday here. What do you think about going through the schedule for predictions? It's harder without a third person here, so we'll just have to make do with what your scores are instead. And who you think will win, what's the scoreboard look like? Over on
Right.
the schedule here, we have, for next week, our first EU contenders teams. In
Right,
Team Peps,
that's right. Yeah.
The Washington
Twisted
Justice
Minds.
and Twisted Minds. Washington
Oh, yeah, the
Justice
Washington
roster.
Justice.
Yeah,
My
if
favorite
you
European
recall.
team.
Yeah, Mirror, my favorite European on the Washington Justice. Toronto Defiant.
Alpha Yi, my
versus
favorite French DPS.
Alpha Yi. Viva la France on that Genji. Toronto Defiant versus Twisted Minds. Who gets the 2-0? Was it
Have you
2-1?
seen Toronto Defiance roster?
Have you seen Twisted Minds?
I haven't actually. I haven't seen an ounce of their gameplay.
Yeah, that's fair. Twisted Minds for you.
I've seen their roster, but I have no idea how good they actually look.
I mean, I hope they slay. The one Denmark player.
That's all you get for that. That's all
Yeah.
you get.
That's all I get. I don't know any of these names except KSA. I think a lot of people
Yeah,
will agree.
KSA 's the
KSA is
only
the most
name that a
familiar
lot of
face
people
from
know.
EMEA. Whereas Team Peps, you've got Hybrid and Naga.
Basically,
Khan.
2021 London Spitfire.
With some shades of Hurricane. With Calyx and Molfig. Zerion? Not familiar.
Hybrid. Naga.
But yeah, Team Peps. Team Peps is looking good, and they were second to Twisted Minds. So let that be known that even if there's these EU teams who will be on ping, odds are they have got something to show. And
Oh,
these
that's
are
right.
Absolutely.
They're getting. I'm pretty sure they got
Undecided.
those two teams like a facility in London to like reduce the ping. Like they covered travel and everything. So that was really good of them.
Yeah, so
Good
I
on
can't
them,
wait to
actually.
see if that will pay off if they get to the London Spitfire.
I think
ping.
Toronto win this one though.
Okay, Toronto.
Simply because American Tornado plus ping, I'm pretty sure all of Toronto is literally just former Owl players, or not formal, I should say, but just
This
they were all in Owl last
in
year.
a Owl
It's
roster.
a stacked. It is a stacked roster. There's a ton of people on that.
Yeah, you bet. So this doesn't show the schedule, but you can no doubt see that
It does not.
Team Peps is playing with Wisp, Glads, Uprising, and Justice. Need I say who you reckon will officially be at the top 2? Because it looks kind of like it's.
I feel like it's already laid up for us now. I feel like this is exactly what it's gonna look like.
Not scripted. This is Wikipedia doing the predictions now. So if Wikipedia was a third person, I'm pretty sure they assume every game Uprising exactly Glads are in, they're gonna win. Like. Yeah. Okay, so what about then Justice versus Team Pep? So Toronto to fight, did you reckon it was 2-0 or 2-1?
I think that's 2-0.
Yeah, Toronto 2-0. Justice and Peps, I would say Justice.
What? Two EU contenders teams.
Justice 2-0. I'm sorry, but like the activation of Alfie and Mirror in a place where they can be comfortable against a European team, I think they're not at odds with Ping first on foremost.
I think their Korean pieces that they have will be too powerful against the EU.
Yeah, I get that feeling. So 2-0?
Yeah, I reckon 2-0.
Okay, here we go. Now this is our first big one. Outlaws versus Defiant.
That is the first actual Outlaw match.
Defiant will be playing like it's a grand finals for NA contenders, to be quite honest with you. It will feel like on the same day they have to play their third place matchup and then grand finals in a simulation that lasts only Friday, March 31st, local time. I think that's going to be your.
What is Houston? Let me look at Houston. Okay, so Houston's got. Okay, they have that, and then there's.
Yeah, they have that. They have that. Versus
they have that.
This. Come on.
They have Fearless.
Is this not
Fearless already gapped Kaluge. I think there's a clear winner here.
2-0?
As much as I would love for Houston to lose, I can't argue with facts and logic.
Okay. Do we want to go even further to the left and say Gladiators and Excelsior then? And they all win on the left-hand side? Because we did see some teams all on the right-hand side for one day completely sweep.
Do you really think New York could even try to fight Houston?
They will try to
they will try
beat expectations.
Do you want to put that expectation on yourself? Do you really think that'll happen?
Honestly, I'm at that stage where it didn't matter last week. Why should it matter anymore now? So I put Excelsior down. If I do that, it's going on the record. It's going on podcast that I say Excelsior. Not for any particular reason, by comms, by teams, by strategy. The unpredictability of having a roster like New York Excelsior, which is now officially fits Shockwave and Cyclone.
We have no idea what they're capable of.
You don't know if they're going to play Haley and Anion. I mean, they officially
have no idea what they're going to do.
They're officially going to do something insane here, because Lep and Creative are the most veteran supports that they're likely going to field, while Haley and Anion sort of get into a spot where
they're just there so that New York can say, look, we have women.
Yeah. Haley, formerly Halo. Is this correct that I should be seeing Halo when I say I'm supporting New York Excelsior's, first, calling all heroes player? Would it be Halo or Haley?
I just say Haley personally. I don't think it matters too much, but I personally just say Haley.
And Anion, I have not seen a single thing about Anion, but that's not to say that I have low expectations. I think this will be pretty fun.
Believe Anion knows Korean. I mean, their name
Chinese and Korean. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, but I do believe that they will be able to communicate with their two Korean players that they have on that team.
That would be Fitz.
So if they do end up fielding, if they kind of have to field Kellen, but if they have Fitz in the lineup, I believe that they'll also have Anion and Creative.
Yeah, I think so. And look, that's pretty cool. That would be probably one of the first Chinese players on a Western Division roster for the first time by technicality. If we have seen her as a US and not as South Korean individually.
We have seen a reverse of that with Nero on Guangzhou.
Yeah, it's so true. I don't think there's been a single other player next to Neptuno also on the Guangzhou charge. On the Guangzhou charge. Do you see a pattern here why I like this team?
That was really weird roster.
You can't
But
ask for a more unique and iconic Chinese roster.
That
than,
was one of the
Fraggy and
rosters of
Bishu.
all time.
Veteran talent, I swear to God, they should never stop doing that when they have the chance. Their whole structure has changed, so I don't think we'll ever see that again. But that's probably the most iconic 2 seasons of Neptuno, Fraggy, Bishu, and Hotba. All these Philadelphia Fusion players all racking their raps on a Chinese roster. Now, back to the matchups here. Gladiators versus Wisp. I skipped this one completely because I'm assuming that was 2-0 or 2-1.
I feel like this one's too obvious.
Too obvious in what way? For Wisp, what are the chances that they can actually, claw it back?
I don't think they can. I think the chances are very low. When you have a piece like Yaki on your team, you just win. I think when you have Yaki, Kai, and
I just
Dante,
realized that Yaki is an anagram of Kai with a Y in it.
That is true.
So you got Kirsten, Dante, and Funny Astro, Lastro. So a lot of these names are just like, this is an iconic Gladiators team since your Paddy Pan and Arn's roster.
This literally just looks like Houston plus I don't even know, this is like Houston and
Tier 2 finally adopted probably the best child, Bet and Babble from O2 Blast. That's probably the best pickup you can take out of the Shock's O2 Blast roster.
Yeah, if you're gonna outbid the Shock on them, you're gonna want to do it for Babel. Or in Dallas's case,
great goals. Given the situation that Gladiators is currently in financially with their parent organization now dropping out of esports entirely, we were worried we weren't going to have a Gladiators team, but they're going to still compete. And if they are with this roster, if they don't end up signing anyone for whatever reason because of financials, this is probably a great team to stick with, and I hope that they do well. And there's no doubt if their opponent is going to be Wisp, where the only recognizable name is probably J-Karu, who was on the Gladiators.
For me, it's Chopper.
No, not the same guy. Uprising Fusion University. I thought he was Jaru. That's who I thought it was.
You thought it was Jaru.
Yeah, that ain't Jaru.
Yeah, for me, the only name I recognize is Chopper. I've heard a little bit about Rocky, but not enough for it to immediately ring a bell.
And do you think they have a shot if they just out DPS Kevster?
They can't. They can't.
They can't. But they might as well if the Gladiators
don't have to show up. There's people on the earth that could possibly gap that support that DPS line that are an owl, and they're not even here. So I think Glad takes these.
Okay,
without competition.
I'll skip this one because I think we know our decisions on this. Gladiators versus Peps. Yes, we did. I said 2-1 New York, and you're saying 2-0 Outlaws?
Yeah, I am.
I'm such a great mind reader. You're welcome. Gladiators versus Peps. Gladiators? No, they're not going to be contesting? No 2-1?
Same thing. You can't contest that, no.
Okay. Why do you think Redbird 2-0 to Twisted Minds?
I was talking about Glad's Peps.
Oh, no, Peps, yes. Sorry. Let me catch you up with what I was saying. Redbird Esports, then. Do you have them over Twisted Minds, and why?
I do, but I think it is going to be competitive.
Introducing
I think Redbird's over Twisted Minds. I think in a third map. I don't know. I think that the ping is going to do a lot for any team that faces Twisted Minds and Peps, but you also just have Drethin. So
this is Moving Fish 7. I've seen a lot of gameplay of this guy, and I think if you put him on the bench for Gig and you have Vision on this roster, it's this is a godsend for Redbird Esports. This is as powerful of a DPS that you can expect throughout the entire contenders lineup. And we're talking including Wub, including your Saints King, or Pummy, or who else did we see? Boat. Yeah. Vision's got it down pat. as one of the potentials here. And let's just recall though how old he is. 20. He should be on an Overwatch League roster. Like Frank he should be taking a spot on the Vegas Eternal, if anything.
The only reason Tree's not in the league because he's freaking 15.
Yeah, I mean this guy's got some time to catch up. He's got 2 years instead of 3. You can now be 17 now.
I feel old. I don't like thinking about Tree because it just makes me feel terrible.
Just pretend that Tree is 33. It's in his name.
I can't.
King is 1 year old, or at least he tries to make sure that he's the number one king.
I can't do Tree.
It's too much.
2007. No, it's more of people who were born in 2007 are now 15 years old. I can't cope with that.
They're also turning 16 too.
Ew! Why'd you say that? I'm turning 19. Ew!
Gross. Redbird Esports versus Twisted Minds. Is that a 2-0 or 2-1?
I think it's a 2-1 Redbird. 2-1 Redbird.
You know what? That's a healthy prediction. I'll take it. 2-1 for Redbird Twisted. Boston Uprising. Their debut on the second day of Overwatch League. Pro-Am Week 2.
Boston's hilariously stacked roster can only be doomed to fail. But, however, it should be noted that in true Gladiators fashion, I think they lose this.
You know what? I'm going to believe that.
Only the Gladiators would be the type to lose to something like this.
And would they lose in an embarrassingly shocking fashion? Or, maybe Boston is more interested in getting ready for a real hard component like Team Wisp. In the second matchup. Look, I'm just saying, they might not have the NA meta down after watching 1 week's worth of games and VODs. And maybe they might get fooled and get slipped up on Wisp. Maybe Wisp have something that can outplay Striker and Smurf combined. You never know.
There's no way.
I can't sell you on it. I won't even tell you why I still think Wisp would beat Boston. You can predict Boston over Glads.
Where's Wisp against Boston here? I don't see that anywhere.
So let's recap. Boston Uprising, Glads. What was the score?
I think
Boston 2-1.
Boston 2-1. I think that's a fair prediction to make.
I'm with you on that. Defiant versus Redbird. I mean, this is the battle, to conquer all of
the all-American teams, ironically, with Toronto being Canadian.
Basically, it's a Team USA scrims, but it's in Overwatch League by mistake.
Yeah.
If you just happen to have a lot of players that have been put onto those tournament matches. And finally, they can actually be in a live match facing each other. This was the dream match, if I recall correctly, when I was talking to Toucan, the former co-host, and he was wondering, is there going to be a day that you and the rest of the American Tornado rosters form together, which they have now, and now facing against old Redbird Esports and now the new Redbird Esports? I think this is a match that's going to have a lot of sentimental value, even if it is on April Fool's. On my time, sure.
I just realized that
it's going to be an April Fool's for me because I'm talking about April Fool's when it's your March 31st. So,
is that
because your time zones are the ones that matter. That's why I post the odd
I just realized that is really weird.
It is messing with your head so much.
The times until now. I was like, wait a minute, April 1st, 10 in the morning.
This is
there's no way.
So this is day 3. So I apologize, I haven't really keeping track. So day 3, Uprising. Oh, sorry. It starts with Glads, Peps, Redbird, Twisted Minds, Uprising, Glads, Defiant, and Redbird. And that's not even the last match. I mean, that would be such a hype last day game to watch. Instead, you get Wisp and Uprising.
Boston versus Wisp.
Nothing against Wisp. Cute icon. Great logo. I just don't have the same enthusiasm as the team.
Unfortunately, not a great roster.
Not against your opponents, which is pretty stacked. Let's be fair.
Has the most trophies I've ever seen in a roster on Wikipedia, by the way. If you look at if you hover over their roster, it's just trophies everywhere.
Not on Wisp, surely.
No, I mean on Boston.
I need to see I like the cute original Wisp logo, but yeah, it really did go for a design mock-up. Redbird? Boom. That's all golds right here, with the exception of this, which they still qualify. To be clear, they knew what they were doing in that, and they secured the spot. They came second to Northwood last 2 years, and that was fine. That wasn't the same roster. There were people who had COVID in 2021. Yeah. So look, that is a solid all gold roster. Otherwise, that's facing against, San Francisco Shock's Kaluge and Florida Mayhem's Hydron, united as the American Tornado roster on the Toronto Defiant. It's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Day 4? There's no 5 days. Yeah, this is day 3.
Yeah, it's day 4. There's only 4 days: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So yeah.
But the reason why I say day 3 again is because this being day 3, and then Monday, my time is day 4, which would be your Sunday. So Twisted Nines versus Houston Outlaws. Is this Outlaws 2-0?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Team Peps and Wisp. Now that's going to be a challenging
That's
one.
a difficult one. That's
hard to predict without any info between the two. Like, I don't see any to play or anything that really stands out that makes one better than the other. But Peps, though, honestly, it just seemed like a bit more of a...
The previous Owl experience makes me want to bet on Peps over Wisp.
Okay.
Because you have Hybrid, Naga, Kellex, and Molpig.
Yeah, I've got nothing.
You've been an Owl before.
I really don't have anything to say on Wisp, so would it be worth giving him a shot? I think so. 2-1 Peps for you and 2-1 Wisp for me?
2-1 Peps for me, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll lock the divides equally. Boston Uprising versus Washington Justice. Now, something about this looks a bit wrong. Can you imagine why? Uprising Decay, former Justice player?
Yeah, it's gonna look really weird to see Decay on the other side of a Justice team.
It's okay, the social medias will be like, yeah, we love you, we missed you. Now stop beating us stop pummeling us 2-0.
We missed you, now please come back so you can stop beating.
Mercy.
Please come back.
He's not the same as your...
Come learn French. Come learn French, like, with Alpha Yi, who's learning. So funny. That is so funny.
Is this the match where we see that if they don't win this match, then suddenly we see Striker leave Boston Uprising again and then rejoin in time for the Overwatch League season? This is the match that does it?
Yeah. If Boston lose to Washington, Striker leaves and then comes back to the Shock in the third stage.
Oh my god, it's sad, but it could actually happen.
It's
not out of the equation.
It's not unlikely because it's happened before.
Rusty, what have you done to him?
It has happened before, and he's allegedly reformed, but
that's only because there's no Huck on the current Boston Uprising. It's all pre and Jitset that would probably throw him under the bus again.
Yeah, I was going to say, if anything's going to make Striker leave, it's going to be Jitset.
Yeah, so do we have a final score, all things considered? Boston 2-1?
Yeah.
Damn, if only we could have more draws, because this would be the match that I would expect a draw, or some kind of, like, toilet bowl kind of enthusiasm for it.
Toilet? This is the toilet bowl.
It's not a toilet bowl, I swear to God. I was thinking for a moment there has to be a real good criteria for it. I can't see one that makes it a toilet bowl, but the enthusiasm of a toilet bowl, that's going to come on this match. If it wasn't for this one, it would probably be something like... New York Excelsior versus Redbird Esports.
Anyone.
If Redbird Esports can't get it down, this is the match to watch. If the situation arises that they get thrashed by Toronto Defiant, what are the chances of that happening? Pretty likely. And they don't face any other team up until this point, so New York will feel like good bird feed. If anything, it's going to be a great chance to see Redbird shine. If those last games that they played didn't manage to stamp up to their competition. Wisp versus Washington.
Possible for New York to get a map on Redbird. I think they could get a map at least.
But I wouldn't
But
underestimate
they
New
win.
York that quickly. It depends on what they do.
Yeah.
Do they swap? Do they?
It just depends on how they look. I feel like it'd be easier to prep them the day before because we would have already seen them in
Yeah.
days past.
Same goes for Wisp. Like, I've got nothing to fundamentally build an argument for them, so I'm just going off a gut feeling. Wisp would get O2'd by Washington Justice just because of the planning that comes into a match for Washington versus Wisp. Wisp can prepare as much as they want, but I don't know this team well enough to know how they would tackle against an esports team. Yeah, an esports team. That's what Washington Justice are. Boston is a professional one. Washington is an esports team, as clarified by their parent organization.
They are an esports team in the state of Washington, D.C.
They are in a state of justice. Either
They're
for
in a state of
themselves
Virginia.
and Virginia. Twist. So 2-0 anywheres or 2-1s for Redbird or Washington.
I think 2-1.
Think it through.
2-1 New York. Putting it down.
Woo!
For New York Redbird.
That's a good one. That is gonna be one for the books.
That is a spicy one, but for whatever reason, I just want New York to look good. I
just
do.
think if by this logic that
I
Redbird
don't want them to
trounce,
fail. They're going to eventually, but I just don't want them to.
if they can't survive the ping diff of Twisted Minds, and Twisted Minds has always been pretty much experts on ping because they're so used to it across.
Yeah, I was gonna say if anything, Twisted Minds have they have an advantage because they're just
and
so
if
used
Toronto
to it.
Defiant being just that. Toronto Defiance just that Giga Chad version of Redbird Esports. So I don't expect them to be able to take maps, but if they do, that's a good sign before you lead up to Excelsior. So 2-1 Excelsior starts to formulate a little bit if you do believe in Fitz carries, as he has in the past.
That is what I'm going off of. I'm going off of a DPS line carry.
Okay. Sorry, I keep coming back to this all the time, but never getting my answer that I was about to come to. Wisp and Justice. I've got Justice 2-0. Doesn't sound weird at all.
Sense. Yeah, that sounds about right to me, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, with the Korean pieces against a contenders team, what are you gonna do besides lose?
Is this gonna be an all right side day because all the contenders teams are on the left except for Boston and Justice? So Twisted Minds in New York, they play 2 games. One the day before and one in the morning. So it's a late-ish game and then an early morning game. And
then they have another one like almost immediately after.
they've got quite the schedule, but that's hopefully where Adiyun and Halo or Haley. I'm sure that they've at least juggled them up by this point, so they have a good balance.
Yeah, I imagine they'll swap them around a lot just to make sure that
their opponents are the best people they can swap them up on.
So some of them a rest.
Yeah, their peak is going to be this New York Excelsior versus Defiant match. But before we even get to that, what's Twisted Minds versus Excelsior? That's 2-1 or 2-0?
I'd say 2-1. 2-1.
Uprising versus Peps?
Uprising. Ping diff.
2-0?
Uprising. 2-0. Yeah, Uprising 2-0.
Do I need to say it? For Excelsior
No.
Defiant? No.
You
Justice
don't.
and Glads?
No.
That one might take some thinking. Come on.
Yeah. Hold on. Gladiators for sure, but map score's a bit interesting. 2-1. 2-1.
2-0.
2-1 Glads.
2-0. I want to make that look a little bit more fierce there because I think the Glads will at least have it in the bag by now. They would have qualified already. 3 games in. Outlaws versus Redbird Esports. The last qualifying match to seal the deal for Redbird being eliminated, which I think hard to say at this point. Just judging off those 4 games.
It's not entirely surprising. I think if there was any team that was going to try to make it through, it would have been them or Saints. But Saints is already out of the question.
It is insanely likely that Outlaws do an Outlaws thing on the last game. And they either don't qualify for whatever reason, despite their high confidence, or they manage to let Redbird Esports sneak this one out, and maybe their one map differential could probably put someone else in favor, like Washington Justice or Boston Uprising. This is a very competitive group, I'd say, if these line up properly. So let's have a visual to see if this makes any sense. Hey, Pineco, what's up? You like my Pineco?
Yeah.
This is the screenshot that I had, and the photo is right here. Oh dear, there's nothing to show here. Let me patch that up. There it is. So here we go. This is the qualifying rounds already. There's still nothing to show here. This is not looking good. Technical difficulties existing. Shock and Mayhem, they qualify and they've got their spots already locked in, along with Atlanta and London. So by Group C standards, we've got Boston and maybe... Well, no, it's definitely Gladiators and maybe Boston.
Yeah. It was 100% Gladiators and then like...
Yeah, 1C would go to Gladiators. The 1D, Boston or Washington. And depending on if Pep's something...
No, 1D would be... 1D would be Toronto here, I think, right?
Yeah, sorry, 1C and 2C.
One is the place. One is like the place, and then the letter is the group.
Yeah, you're right.
So 1D would be out of Group D, which would be... I believe we... Was it Toronto, or is it... I don't remember.
Yeah, let me bring in the magic editing tools. So those of you who haven't heard this program, it's called Microsoft Paint. We're not sponsored, but they're a really good program. I recommend you check it out. Group 1C, we'll definitely pop in Gladiators. Just a little bit of magic, so bear with me. And then it's on black. Cool. 1C. Gladiators, possibly 4-0. And while we don't have that confirmed yet, what we can do is at least...
What you can do is italicize it to make it...
Italicize it, you know how it is. And we'll make it just plain white, why not? Not exciting in the least, but at least it's not that obvious that they could be the winners.
Yeah.
Alright, and then 2C... We'll put in placeholder. Yeah, this will work. Just a placeholder. Washington Boss was.
Your boss was.
Boss
yeah.
the was.
And then
1D. Surely this goes to Houston or Toronto.
Yeah, it is. It is one of the other...
a contenders team in the running now.
I think it's Houston, Toronto. Like for 1 and 2, it's just a matter of which one goes where.
I feel like we're seemingly confident on Houston being the first seed, but you never know because it's Houston.
As much as I really would as much as I pray on Houston's downfall, in their group it's the more likely outcome.
And then like what I think we could do for 2D, it seems likely Toronto, but it could also be New York Excel. It could even be Redbird or Time. What do you think? Twisted Minds. They didn't look like they were winning much of their matchups, but again, completely random. I would say CN for contenders, yeah? It could be a contender slot.
Alright.
But do you think that'd be possible against Toronto and Houston?
Okay, how about this? So, 1D is just Houston.
And you reckon Toronto will be top?
1D is just Houston, and then 2D is...
You think they compete?
Yeah, I think this is fine.
No chance for the contenders teams, huh? I think this is actually probably the most likely out of all of them. If we
This
couldn't
is
see
the
it in
most
Group
likely,
B,
yeah.
yeah, okay.
I think 1D should just straight up just be Houston, no Toronto.
No
just
kidding,
Houston.
yeah.
Oh,
Yep. No, that's
where
fine.
did 2D go? 2D disappeared.
I want 2D to disappear. They just got Thanos snapped.
Oh,
Oh, right, no, all I need to do is
you
just
have made
click it.
another box.
I boxed. This is what I want, just Houston. I can erase, don't worry. That'll do.
We'll get there eventually. There we go.
Yeah, nice little smudge. And then 2D. Toronto.
Slash.
Because I have no idea what the score would look like. But surely it would be 4-0, and then this one would also be possible to do a 3-1.
This would probably just be 3-1, probably.
Just to Houston, right? You reckon? That last
Yeah.
loss? Yeah, that could work. And then you would just do 4-0.
Gonna have to line up that box somehow.
Don't worry.
Oh.
I've done MS Paint surgery before. It looks a little bit superimposed, but it'll do.
It looks obvious, but I feel like it's fine.
It will do. So the winner of game 1, Florida. What the hell is this? Is this destined to be? This is like every tournament matchup ever. Florida always up against London. It's finally come back again. It's come back for
They
a
won't
pro-am.
stop fighting each other.
And they will never stop fighting each other. Who do you reckon makes it out? It's very hard to tell, isn't it? Once you actually have the top teams against each other from their own brackets.
Yeah, it's a little bit. I mean, I think Florida just come back again. I think Florida just goes.
I think Florida's checkmate has really shown that he is like not down to give up that easy.
Florida has the merit to pass through London.
They will be able to make leaps and bounds to deliver against good old London. Florida.
Florida.
Yeah. That's in italics there. Let's skip this one and go with the obvious one down here. Atlanta versus Boston. Actually, it doesn't seem that obvious, does it?
I think
All three
Atlanta just go through here.
Yeah.
I think it's just Atlanta. Oh, that is pink, so.
Alright, I saw that coming. So if Atlanta proceed, and because there's a single elimination, we don't see any more of the lower bracket teams, so yeah, it would really suck for London. It would really suck between Glads and Toronto and Houston and Shock. Okay. The only reason I think Houston don't make it is if Shock manage to get their ping and their stats.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if Shock is still on ping, Houston win. If they're not on ping, Shock win.
And if it didn't matter, I would still probably lean on Houston, just judging by their initial performance and the fact that we don't have any on Houston, but we know the talent that's behind it, including Violet, who's been able to play against the Shock players on Lucio. Yeah, we're gonna see more of that, right? So he'll absolutely be able to play
which
out.
Lucio player feeds harder.
Yeah.
Is it Vindame or Violet? Which one will feed just a little bit harder?
So I think with a sheer amount of confidence that I wouldn't normally say for Houston Outlaws because of like a Houston surprise I usually expect. Let's put in Houston here. Suddenly this looks pretty flesh right now.
Yeah.
Toronto and Glads. Do you reckon it's just straight up Glads, or do you think Toronto have a shot? I mean, both of them have known quantities.
Shot, but
Glads has got some good experience going down. If you visualize it, not in green, but you get the idea. Does that look reasonable to you? Gladiators, Toronto. Gladiators, Toronto. Gladiators, Toronto. It is a good Toronto roster. But it's equally as good Gladiators roster.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of which DPS show up. Are Toronto's Hydron and Sam gonna do it, or
Speedily, or
Speedly's not coming in? I don't understand why any team has ever picked up Speedily. He's literally just an Echo player.
yeah,
That was the
what if
only
Echo starts
reason
to
he's
come
been
in
picked
by
up
this
by
point?
anyone.
New hero time, right? The new
He's
hero
just an
differential.
Echo player.
Oh, it's so tough. But yeah, it's probably the first one I could say out of all these brackets that's hardest. Like I
It's
reckon
either Hydron and Sam, or like Kevster and Kai, or like Yaki and Kai.
Kai's won a championship.
Has he?
That doesn't
I
mean
don't
that he can't, but do you
so.
think it happens here? Could Glaz make a run for the top? Against Florida? I think they could.
Yeah, I think they could.
So I'll probably just lock in Glads then.
Yeah.
I can't say that without too much pain in my heart, so Gladiators it is. Yank. Gladiators. Looking nice and purple. Okay. Now this is where things get interesting. Florida Mayhem. I realize it's not FLA. It's actually FLM. So for those of you who are watching this in the VOD,
Is it FLM?
I know.
Is it FLM on the site? Hold on. Let me pull it up. Hold on. Now I need to see it.
No, I'm joking. I think it was actually FLA for Florida.
It would make the most sense. It's definitely not like FL. Actually, FLO is a possibility, but I don't think
Rider. Always comes to mind if you're gonna split it into flow.
Flow Rider.
Alright, thinking caps on. Is it easier to predict Houston versus Atlanta than Florida and Gladiators? Mayhem Glads, Houston Outlaws, and Atlanta Reign.
I think Glads versus
Glads.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, let's lock it in. It's your upper bracket winner. Houston or Atlanta. I think everyone's kind of like screaming Atlanta by this point in my head.
Yeah, everyone's been just singing Atlanta's praises ever since that leaked scrim. It was the scrim bucks have just been going too hard.
It's just off the charts. I wouldn't find a reason to ignore it this time. I've done it in the past, and it's only made me look bad, especially against Gladiator pricks. Preds. It's my accent this time. Jesus. Gladiators versus Atlanta.
You did a mirror.
Final call. Look, Mirror and I have a lot more in common than you think, okay?
You did a mirror. Your accent screwed you up and you said it worked.
Let's get this over and done with. Nari, I want your call, and if this is meant to be, according to the infographic, 1st to 7. If this was actually
first
a 1st to 7?
How they go from 1st to 2 to 1st to 7?
You know how many games that would be
Are
repressed
you sure it's
of
not
a 1st
best
to
of
5?
7, not first?
They did clarify it was a best of 7, but in their original post they actually said it was 1st to 7.
1st to 7.
You know I
maps
want
is
that.
Crazy.
I would watch that. It would go for like
What would
3 hours.
1st to 7 even be like? Best of 14?
Yeah, come
Like-
on. What could possibly
No.
go wrong? Like, would people get bored of the finals that long?
Everything.
Would they get completely burned out? Absolutely. But then you have 2 weeks to recover in time for the spring season.
That would not be enough time. It just would not be enough time. Yeah, it is a best of 7 though, correct?
Yeah.
First to 4.
Okay. Well, I don't really have anything just yet. If I say Toronto and Houston make it out, and then Glads and Boston / Washington make it out. That doesn't look right, but yeah, that's exactly how we're feeling right now.
Right.
Gladiators
Who's at our
have
top? 87. Who
They
comes
have
out?
what it takes. So does Atlanta because they feel so
But
established.
do they have Lip?
Do they have Kai?
Do they have Donghak?
No, they don't.
you can't really say do they have Dante because that's like in my
They
opinion
will
that's a
never have
downgrade of
Dante.
Donghak.
I'm just not going to say that that's going to be better than Donghak, at least on a 1-to-1 scale. But I
Who
can
wins the
imagine,
brawl match, Donghak or Dante?
is the new hero meta going to actually be so OP that we get the whole wave of people saying, no, I can't believe they're playing the new hero. Why are they playing the same metas against each other? Why are they
I
mirroring
don't
each
think
other?
the new hero's going to be out by this point. I think the new hero will only come to metas and like when Calling All Heroes starts.
Oh, okay. I'm glad that you make a mention of that because what's happening on the Call All Heroes side?
A lot is going on. They're taking a page out of Valorant's book, which is actually a good thing this time. They're just making a game changers type circuit, but it's Calling All Heroes. They're gonna have majors and they're gonna do all sorts of stuff. It's definitely a lot better than just having one tournament like per year.
Yeah, I hear it's
think
going to be
having a whole
season
circuit's
long,
gonna be
yeah?
a lot better.
Whole lot better. 2023 and 24, so it carries over.
Yeah, it's gonna spread a long time. It's gonna be a very long-winded event.
Long-winded, but I mean that's a good journey to put them in. It's the same experience as the Overwatch League players.
It's a very nice path to pro, so one could say.
You might say that, yeah.
One could say that, yeah.
It's a good little last chance qualifier setup. So yeah, this has a lot of flavors of the Valorant Champions Tour. To make a championship in February, god dang, that's quite the schedule. And I think that the partners that they have for it is going to be very good as well. So it's needing some collaboration.
Looking at that schedule makes me like, that's a lot of time to invest. Because I plan on doing that, obviously.
So registration for those wanting to join Calling All Heroes starts March 24th, which is, as of the time of writing, it's already like 1 weekend.
We're 4 days past that.
And if you're feeling like it feels lonely or so forever alone, you still have a chance to just form teams up until April 18th. You can be like a pickup for another team, or you can find yourself in a group in the same region as you and make it happen.
That they're Calling All Heroes, that they have a subsection of their Discord server specifically for players who are just they're looking for a team. You can just put a LFT in there like, hey, I need a team, trial and stuff. Or I believe they also have a form for if you just want to be on a team but you can't find one for whatever reason. There's a thing where you could like put in your information and then they'll like randomly assign you like a team of a bunch of free agents like 2 weeks before the event, so you have time to like scrim and prepare and everything. At least they had that last time. I don't know if they're doing that this time around because it's a whole circuit. But it'd be cool if they did, because finding a team is a lot harder than a lot of people think.
And so don't feel like you're alone. You've got a lot of help once you join the server. And with the verification, that's there for everyone to feel inclusive.
The verification is definitely a whole thing.
Completely a normal thing anywhere else in this tournament.
Obviously, it's been a long time since I've done their verification. I'm still there, and I think it'd be weird if they kicked everyone out and did a re-verification because I've already done it. But when I did do it, it's a bit weird. It was definitely not the least intrusive thing I've ever dealt with.
But for me personally, I think
it's the safest way to do it. It's the safest way that they're doing it. That's only kind of have to with these sort of things, unfortunately.
Yeah, so just looking at the 2 regular seasons in April to July, which is 2 majors and 1 minor, and then August to December, if you miss out, you can still catch up for, again, 2 minors instead in 1 major. So there'll be great time to just see that representation out there.
And then if you miss out on those somehow, there's an LCQ.
Last chance. If you really think you got what it takes, you really think you can come in clutch, be the last chance qualifier that they need you in Calling All Heroes. and get ready for that championship if you do. I think that would be worth a shot to see some of the best plays from this side of the Overwatch competitive scene. I can't wait. It will really all come into fruition with the help of the speaker series as well. Great mentorship. Learn about production and being part of the broadcast. That's some talent that needs growing up as well.
I believe last year they had something called Caster Camp, where it was pretty self-explanatory. You learned how to be a caster.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. I believe now that they're doing that speaker series thing. I'm not sure if they're going to be doing another caster camp, but they are going to be doing stuff on how to learn being an observer, just watching. Basically, just be prod. Basically, just be production.
Yeah,
learn how to be Overwatch production.
I know some of these production people in the back of my mind that I'd want to bring onto the podcast, and these guys are absolutely masters at this stuff at Overwatch level. So their broadcasting talent is something that they're happy
how to
share.
Become OBS Moira.
Become an OBS Sojourn, formerly OBS Zarya, my favorite. The list
OBS
goes
Winston.
on. You can be the OBS Kiriko that we needed. How does that
OBS,
sound?
Anyone you want. OBS, whoever you want.
OBS Ramacha, please. I'll take that one.
OBS Torbjorn. It doesn't matter.
OBS Echo. That's already taken.
The options are unlimited.
And you just gotta be part of it. Come join. Don't be afraid to say hi or say hello there. I won't be in the
If you want
server.
to get involved in the Overwatch League, or just be more involved, if you don't think you could be a player, or if you think you would suck as a caster, you could be an observer. You could still be involved.
Heaps and heaps of opportunities available to
Esports
you.
is a very opportunistic industry.
It's here for you, and your time is calling in 2023.
And given that you dedicate yourself to it, you can reap benefits.
100%. Now, back to our regularly scheduled. Nothing to show here.
There's nothing to show here.
Yeah, that is correct.
There's something to show here.
This is something to show. What is our finals looking like? So, I assume if we picture it correctly, they start on Control. Very shock-ass map that they would win. If you're Atlanta, I think they've kind of got the new Antarctic Peninsula map down to a T. Like the T in the middle of Atlanta.
Right.
Where would Glads fit? Because we haven't seen any gameplay at this stage. We will come back to this probably next week, and we might have better information, and then we can scrub this and do it one more time. Or if we manage to get it all right at this point, then we can just keep smiling nervously as we see this might actually be the winning bracket. You never know. After Antarctic Peninsula, then it just usually goes to Hybrid, like King's Row. What else have they played? As the second map.
Would it not have been
Money.
Escort? Was it not Escort before? Or was it
I've seen
Hybrid?
King's
I
Row
don't
being
know.
played, as well as... it's not Assault, sorry, my mind's having a blank. But they would not play Push. They would usually play one of the other sort of point-based maps. With
Well,
payload.
let me peep the VODs real quick. Let me find the VODs.
Have a wee looky.
Let's see. I cannot find them. I am.
Ah. No. Not the VODs.
So. See. So yeah, Hybrid was played second, and then they would go to, I believe, a push.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would. It was Control, Hybrid, Push.
And then after Push, if for some reason Glads or Atlanta get 3-0, they have to play one more map to win.
Yeah.
It would go back to Control, no?
Well, I mean, I think I think if it is a best of 4, or not best of 4, best of 7. If it's a first of, if it's a best of 7, first of 4, then I think they will just do the normal control, escort, hybrid, push type beat, and then control again. But I think in the specifically the first of 2, it is what I previously mentioned: control, hybrid, push. Apparently, someone's awake. My dog is barking.
Does your doggo know who's going to win the Overwatch League? 1 bark for Glads, 2 barks for Atlanta.
Let me ask. Let me see.
All right.
He's not barking anymore.
Oh, okay.
he don't know walled me.
He good. I don't know how we can help him there. Then. Yeah, nothing like Whiner.
Whiner.
Winner.
Who is the whiner of the Overwatch? Whiner of Pro-Am.
Winner of Prom.
I think Atlanta. I think it's Atlanta.
It just screams Atlanta, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I can't make enough of the defense for lads because I think Dante has a shot. It depends on how strong Atlanta's willpower is up at that point.
I think Atlanta's just gonna try to force ball and monkey as much as possible, and Dante's not gonna be able to keep up with the Donghawk tech.
The Donghawk tech. Oh no. Really?
Oh no. He said Atlanta's winning. Oh well.
Oh no. It's too good. The dog is too good. We gotta do it. ATL.
Yeah.
And what would the score be?
That's a great question. That is a
4-0. Oh yeah.
No,
that would be a little too dark, but
no.
that's what I think deep down. Atlanta 4-0 because they would be this over prepared.
A man.
At least. Hey,
Glad's been like maybe Glad's been like a Doom map or something. I don't know.
I mean, how many tournaments have gone the
Glad's
distance?
maybe win like Glad's maybe win like a Dorado. I think Glad's win a Dorado if it's played.
If it's played, because losers pick. So surely it goes back and forth.
It's not played. It's not played. It's not in the pool.
A good match would go 4-2 because the winners and losers picks alternate just enough that if it went to 4-3, cool. That was my old going through charge logo, funny enough. The profile pic that I used that you saw flashing. Atlanta 4-2 would be like killer game. I would watch that again and again. Yeah. But I would personally put myself on 4-0. Not the ideal situation for Glads, but doesn't mean that I don't think this will be a hard-fought match between the two teams. 4-2, or should we go lower or higher?
Yeah, I think 4-2's fine. 4-2's fine.
All right. Well, I'll tell you now, let's lock that in for this week, and then it's just time to just check out on the power rankings come next week, and we can reevaluate and see what news we get of the East Division. Anything else you'd like to say just before we wrap up, Nari?
No, it's yeah. That's all I got. I got nothing.
No, totally. That is all we have for this week. So, hey, look, thanks for joining us for this episode. If you do like it, make sure you give us a subscription over on the Ecopoint Overwatch YouTube. Follow us on Twitter and on Spotify and give us a 5 stars. You should see these uploads more often now. All right, take care. Peace out, fam.
Yeah.